Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi. Good morning, Rabbi.
We're in Mishnah is Eruvin, Perek Vav, Chapter 6, Mishnah Hey, Mishnah 5. We're going back to discussion about the example the Mishnah talks about is Shituf Mevuos. That is where people share, where people in different chatzeros, different courtyards, share an alleyway that leads into the Rishus Harabim. This alleyway is a Rishus Hayachid, but for people to be able to carry in it, the Chachamim said you got to do similar to what you do by Erev Chatzeres, and that is that the members of the different Chatzeres all donate. Typically, the way it's done is that there is food collected for the purpose of making this shituf, this partnership, which the Mishnah often calls Erev, which is the term used by Erev Chatzeres, but even for Shituf Mevuos, because it works the same way, it also refers to it as Erev. And typically, you have food that is specifically collected from the members of the courtyard to now put into one courtyard, so that everybody is now, everybody is sharing the food and everybody's sharing everything together. It's considered like everything is one domain and they can carry. But again, typically what's happening is that there is food being collected specifically for that purpose. Now, when it comes to an Erev Chatzeres, it's got to be bread. When we're talking about a Shituf Mevuos, it could be any food. So now the Mishnah says like this: you had a homeowner, and he was a partner with his neighbors, meaning he and let's say two other people, they live in the area sharing this alleyway. Okay, now they are already partners with each other. Partners with each other means like this: I'm a partner with you in your food, and I'm a part. Let's say you're the two people that are there that we're sharing the alleyway with. So I'm a partner with you, and I'm a partner with you. You both aren't partners, but I'm a partner with you and a partner with you. I'm with you a partner in wine, and with you a partner in wine. We own wine together. They do not need to make an Erev. That means they do not need to go ahead and make a special collection for the purpose of the Shetufei Mevuos. The partnership that they have in the food, that's going to be enough that you can use that to make your Shetufei Mevuos. Now again, there's one person who's a partner with both. We're not all three partners. I'm a partner with you, I'm a partner with you. That's enough to be able to put everyone together, to be considered, one unit. One group together.
Other people in the two?
We're not talking about other people. Okay. There were three people. Okay. The point is, though, that it's enough that I'm a partner with each one of you, even though you're both not partners, to say that the shared food now can be combined for the purposes of allowing carrying in the alleyway. Now, what is important to know is that you may not have to go collecting special food for this, but all the food has to be put into one container. Meaning both my wine, our wines, right, have to all now be put into one container and left in one courtyard, and one secure area in a courtyard, in one of the courtyards, and now we can use the alleyways and everything. But that the Mishnah doesn't say this, but this is what the Baratunura says. In this case, you have to have whatever is being used for the shituf for everyone to be able to share the alleyway. You need whatever food is involved to be in one container. Typically, you do combine the food together. You keep it together. But if, let's say, one container fills up, get another one. In this case, but that's when you're talking about food that was specifically collected for the purpose of making the Erev. Here, where the food is really, we're partners already outside of Erev, but we're partners already. We want to say that now we can use that food together to make. We can take that food and bring it together to be considered that we're all sharing this food. We're all one in this food for the purposes of making this entire area into one area. It has to be in one. It has to be in one. It has to be in one utensil. Okay. Now, what if I'm a partner with you in wine and you in oil? Okay. Then you're going to need to make an Erev. Then I cannot say that by taking the wine and the oil and putting them together in a barrel, like we said before, by the wines, that is not going to help you when it's wine and oil. And therefore, if you want to make a shituf mavois, you're going to have to go ahead and tzricha la'ariv. You got to now go and collect the food for the purposes of making the shituf. You cannot use a partnership food like in the first case. Why? Because since it's oil and wine, and the oil and wine don't mix together, we cannot see them as one thing. The shituf that they bring down here in the notes, a shituf joins the residents together in ownership of one food. By bringing the food together, we're all sharing this food. We're all one with this food. Since wine and oil cannot be combined to become one, they cannot be used together to form a shituf. Okay? Now that is, again, this is because we're talking about, well, let's a little bit further. Rabbi Shimon says, both cases, wine and oil, you don't need to make a special erev. According to Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Shimon holds of this principle not only here but in other places. If you mix wine and oil together, although they don't really mix, they're considered mixed to be one. There's other areas of halacha that applies to also. Since Rabbi Shimon holds they do become one, so if they become one, you're good. Now, what would be implied from the words of the Mishnah, being that Rabbi Shimon and the Tanna Kama are arguing by liquids, by wine and oil? Let's say we're talking about different foods, not liquids, different foods. Would Rabbi Shimon argue there? Rabbi Shimon wouldn't argue there because it's specifically by the liquids, by oil and wine. Rabbi Shimon says, no, if you mix them together, they're considered one, not considered two separate entities. But regular foods, two separate foods, that wouldn't help. It wouldn't help with separate foods because they don't mix, they're seen automatically as separate entities. So in the case, if let's say the combination, let's say the partnership was not in wine and oil, but it was in foods, and it was different foods, Rabbi Shimon would agree to Tanna Kama that you can't combine them. They won't be able to come one together. You got to have to make a special collection to be able to make the shituf. Now, this all holds true where, again, because our case of the Mishnah is where they are not collecting food specifically for the purpose of the Erev. They already work together in some degree of the food because they had an actual partnership. Here is where we need, so to speak, the combination has to come together in a stronger way. It has to become one to be considered that we're all, sharing ownership in this food. It's going to have to come together in a stronger way. But if we're talking about food that's actually collected for the shituf, even if it would be regular food and it would be different foods, they could combine together to make the shituf. So our Mishnah is specifically discussing this because we're talking about where you didn't collect the food for shituf, but rather you're combining together foods that you're already partners in. For that to work for your shituf, for that to be considered like we're all, sharing ownership of the foods, they all have to come together in a stronger way, since it wasn't collected for the purpose of shituf. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi.